Hello and welcome to the Quibber channel. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm going to talk about Bertie. Now, before we start, this video is going to have graphic pictures of a wound, and the slow repairing of that, and what happened to Bertie, and how Bertie is. Bertie's fine. Just to say, this is just a video to explain it all. So, if you're squeamish at all, then maybe skip this video. So, Bertie is a staffy. It's almost 16 years old now. And over the years, as a staffy, they can develop these little cyst type things. I don't know the exact name of them, but they're usually not cancerous. But before I start, remember, I have had dogs my entire life. My mum had dogs her entire life. My dad used to breed dogs as well. So I have a long history of looking after, taking care of dogs. I also have a medical history of being trained and taught by not vets, but by doctors and nurses at the hospital to look after Paola. So I have all this knowledge and that anyway. And with my autistic side, my problem solving ability, I can deal with things in a way that a lot of people can't. So remember this, I'm not advocating for people to stop going to vets, because vets are amazing. And me, I always check with a vet. I always have a vet come out and check on my dogs if anything's wrong. And then we discuss treatments. And I will always say to the vet, what do you think? What should we do now? Does my dog have a good quality of life? That's the deal that I always say to my thing. I said, always tell me. Never hide anything. If you think my dogs are at the point in time where they need to pass on, then always tell me. I never want my dogs to be overly suffering. So, that being said, I do a lot of looking after my dogs myself. So, let's look at the original. I'll just pause this while I get up. The original wound on Bertie's paw. He's got a few of these around his body, but most of them are very small and they do no harm to him. And that at his age, well, let's preface something. At the age of 16, for a dog like him, he's already outlived the normal lifespan of a staffy. He's doing very well, and you cannot put a dog that age through life-threatening surgery unless what you are going to be dealing with is just as life-threatening or more life-threatening, unless it's like a Hail Mary, because you are equivalently, with a dog of that age, they are the equivalent of a human being who is about between late 90s and 100. You just don't put them through surgery and anesthesia, because they probably won't come out of the anesthesia stuff. So that was the limitations that we had. We did discuss surgery opposite, so let me bring up the picture. So once again, warning, these pictures are graphic. Okay, so what you're seeing there is a growth. It's not cancerous. It is just a cyst-like growth that came up over years. We were keeping an eye on it at this time because it had got to this stage where it was large. It still didn't bother Bertie. He never licked it. He never messed with it. If it had caused him any pain or discomfort, or if it hurt him in any way or bother him in any way, dogs actually would just lick and that them it. So fine until, so once again, a warning, the next picture is going to show what happened when he went outside one night, and he must have caught it on something outside, because when he came in he started to paint the kitchen floor red. So warning, yes, this next one's going to be gross. There. Basically it split open and bled all over the carpet and everywhere, sorted all that. And first thing I did was get a piece of cotton and tied round the base, and tied the base off to stop the blood. I then called a vet, and they came out to check the dog at this point in time. And that's when we discussed choices. The choices was we could go down the route of surgery, but both them and me were very uncomfortable and advised against it because of his age. The surgery would have meant they would have actually taken away because of where it was positioned, they would have actually took that actual thing off. They would have taken off the knuckle completely at the base, tied the skin over at the base and thingy. They would have taken the entire knuckle off to make sure, and that was because of the way it was now and the amount of skin that it was connected to. It would make it very hard. They wouldn't be able to sew up the top of it. I'll show you what I mean on the next picture. So that was one of the options, and we decided that because of his age and that there was like 65% chance that if he went under anaesthesia he wouldn't come out of it, and there was no way to do it without putting him under anaesthetic. So the other option was antibiotics and steroids. Now, the antibiotics were a good idea just in case an infection got into that. The reason it looks so horrible is basically because the blood has been cut off to it and it's slowly starting to die. That's what you're seeing there, not an actual infection. He had a good check of it, because once again, this was not bothering Bertie. Bertie was not being bothered by this. He was licking it a bit because of thingy, but we were dealing with that. At this point in time, I was using this Wound Skin Care. It's a spray that you spray on dogs' wounds, and it will stop an infection going in, and it just basically cleans it up. You just spray it on, wipe it off, and that kind of thing. You can get that from Amazon. It's the same kind of thing as the vets use. Just because it's from Amazon doesn't mean it's bad. Okay, at this point in time, the choice was once again try some steroids to reduce the mass inside, so it would go a lot smaller, and then revisit the chance that they may be able to do it under local anaesthetic or something like that. But it was the Hail Mary that was really the chance. So we concocted a plan that I said, why don't we treat this as a large skin tag? Why don't we... The dog's already okay with me, so every 2 or 3 days I will tie off a new piece of cotton around the base, cutting off more of the mass, and we just slowly let it die, and then hopefully it will just fall off, and then we can deal with the wound at that point. So set up a plan where the vet would come out once a week to check, and I would take pictures and send them to the vet via the email every couple of days so that they could keep an eye on it, and I would just keep the wound, keep it clean. Now we'll go on to the next stage. The base of the thingy is almost completely cut off now. At that point, this was just before the last couple of days, and then the last bit. This still wasn't causing Bertie a lot of pain or anything. He was discomfort, but not pain. He was on paracetamol because you can give the vet told me you can give in certain circumstances a dog paracetamol, small doses, not full-size human doses, and that just to help if it's causing pain. It's covered. And then at this point in time, it absolutely stunk. Oh my God, the entire house stunk of rotten meat. It really did. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. As that big ball on top was just dying and dead. And then I just contacted the vet took a picture and said, it's time for this to come off. It's connected by a little tiny bit at the back. So I sterilised a pair of scissors and I cut it off. There was only a tiny bit of thing. It didn't bother him because it was all dead anyway. There was no pain there or anything. And at that point in time, then we started the healing regime. The vet made an appointment for the vet to come out again the next day to check. And we started on the healing regime. Funny thing is, I mean, when I talked to the vet and the stuff I had bought from Amazon, they were the same makes that they used at the surgery. So I cleaned it off with this to make sure thingy, and then came this foam dressing. These are amazing. These are. Now these were cut into little shapes like this. Now this stuff, the good thing about this is better than gauze, because gauze, the actual scabs and that will get stuck in it, and when you take it off, if you have to take it off daily, you're actually opening back up the wound and that. So you don't want that. These don't adhere, don't adhere. It doesn't grow. Your whatever's healing doesn't grow into this because it's like a solid mass. So this plus some Manuka medical grade honey on the base, on the center, put it on top of the wound, and then this kind of, have a look, this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stretchy bandages. I mean, this is the last little bit of this, but basically it stretches. It's got like a lot of thingy, so it doesn't stop the wound breathing. It doesn't hug so close that it cuts off circulation, so you can wrap it. So this would go on. This would be wrapped around the paw. Once again, there wasn't much discomfort for Bertie. He was fine with this. He would have a sweet. He was happy, and I would change that twice a day, morning and about a night, and then morning, and so on. And that went on for weeks. And keeping an eye on it, I would take pictures of the wound, and until yesterday, when this wound was quite big. I mean, you can see from that last picture, the wound was quite big. It's so big that it couldn't be stitched. So the Manuka honey accelerated, because this isn't a con. Manuka honey is used in a lot of medical stuff these days because it's antibiotic. It's a natural thing. It does amazing thing, and it promotes the growth of skin cells and wound closure. It's fucking amazing, this stuff is. So daily use of that, small amount of that. And so this is what Bertie's paw looks like today. There we are. That's what it looks like today. That white is new skin that's formed, that's come together slowly over the past thingy, and we don't pour, no need for a dressing on it anymore. It'll just heal up the rest of the way completely naturally in the air, and It's completely gone. Now, this is a massive success story for a 15 to 16-year-old dog. Why I can't tell you Bertie's exact age is because he's a rescue dog that we had when he was 16. So we can't say his exact age. They know he's around 6 when we had him, and we've had him for about between 9 and 10 years. And so we know he's around that age. For a dog that there's no way we could fix this with surgery. There's no way we could do anything like that without risking his life. This is like, I mean, the vet's amazing, because amazed at how well it healed up. So yeah, I will just do the final message to the vets to let them know how he's doing. We're with a wonderful vet that comes out to your house and there as well. So yeah, Bertie, his paw is healed. Remember, I always say, always check with a vet. Never try to treat something without. I have experience of this kind of thing, and my analytical brain can do this, and the side of me, my autistic side, can specialize in this kind of thing in some ways and focus on these things and do these kind of things that a lot of people could not deal with doing, but I can. That way I can do it. So I'm an outlier case, but this kind of wound thing, in that, remember, the big thing is this: if you go to do this, and remember, you've got to do it with a vet, with the help of a vet, knowledge in there. When you tie off that lump, you've got to make sure that you keep tying it off and that you don't open it back up. It's very like a tourniquet, where when you open it back up, it can kill the person, because the bad blood and all that can go back into the system. And if you don't tie it off properly, then all the rotten stuff inside that will feed back into the thingy. Sepsis and everything can be really nasty. You've got to know what the hell you're doing. And it just so happens I have a lot of training. You've got to think, when Paola was ill, because of the nature of what was damaging her body, one of the main things that it started to damage for many years was her skin, and I had to prepare and look after wounds. And when she had dialysis, she had a tube coming out of her stomach that I had to daily look after, wound prep and things like that. I had to do all of these things to stop infection, because one of the big killers in dialysis, especially peritoneal dialysis, is infection. But Paola never got an infection because we were so good at doing the wound prep and look after. We had boxes of gauze, boxes of tape that went over it, specialized tape. We had so many different types of medical cleaner and stuff and everything for all this. So I'm very well trained in all that kind of side of things. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you the good news with Bertie. So this is Jason for the Queber channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day.